Already off to a great start, ladies and gentlemen. Great start, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, welcome back to an all new episode of Matinee Social, where you, our ticket holders, will join us as we discuss the new season of Reacher. I am your host, Chris, and this is my co host, Cass. Let's do this. All right, so we're talking about the new season of Reacher on Amazon Prime, starring Alan Richson. Richson. Um, start.
Already off to
So,
a great start, ladies and gentlemen.
whatever.
Great start, ladies and gentlemen.
So, stop it. So, okay, I'm gonna let you, Cass, give me your thoughts on the season so far. So right now, we ladies and gentlemen weren't able to do the first 3 episodes when they dropped due to technical difficulties. So we're gonna talk about the first 4 episodes. So I'm gonna let you give us your thoughts on the first 4 episodes and how you think the season is going so far.
Enjoying the season so far. This season brings Reacher and his vagabond ways and giant man justice to Philly. So he's in Philadelphia and he orders a trash cheesesteak, and I was like, he's ordering trash. It was like whiz wit. It was like, all right, this is like beat it, tourist, beat it. I ain't got time for this. So that was Dragon One. It was like, just get a hoagie and shut up. It was like, so.
Well, they did an episode. Well, I'm sorry. Actually, he didn't get the
Well, later he got a hoagie, but you don't know what kind it was. It
Right.
was like, if they talking, whiz whiz, he probably got like some kind of fish taco hoagie or something like that. And that don't count. And it was like, that's not right. So that aside, Reacher's in Philly. He's wandering around, hitting some haunts. It was like he's here just to listen to some music and check some stuff out. And he runs into a woman that he sees in trouble on the subway. And it initially looks to him that she has some kind of improvised explosive device in her bag. He goes to intervene. Turns out she didn't. She had a gun and she was still in distress. Reacher still tries to help, identifies himself as a cop, as some kind of authority or something else. She was like, nope. And then she ends up taking her life anyway. So after that, the police take him in for questioning, and he does what I like to refer to now as Reacher level 1. They asked him some questions. He's not giving no real answers because he was like, yeah, I was a military cop. I know how this goes. You're stalling for time for the feds to come in. You know as much as I do. If you thought I killed her, you wouldn't have let me wash my hands. He goes through the whole thing as he's talking to the co-lead of this season, Detective Tamara Green, and her partner. Unfortunately, I don't have that actor's name or the character he plays. But her partner is he's the bad cop and she's the more competent cop. So eventually,
bad cop. I have to pause you there because bad cop doesn't even begin to describe it. I don't know if they cast him because his acting is poor, but
it's not even that. It was like, I think he is more the look. I'm clocking
antagonist.
in. It was like, I'm on the clock now. I just need to do this. I get off at 5. Whatever ain't solved by 5 is tomorrow's problem, and I work on that when I clock back in. He is definitely somebody that's been on the job way too long, and maybe at one time he was the idealized, bright-eyed rookie. We're going to solve the justice. Now he is bitter, to say the least, and that is the character that he is playing.
But he's too typical. Like his character is too, like, he checks all the boxes. Like it's too.
But like for stuff like this, that's what you get. It was like you get either I'm bitter, I don't care about this. Then he's going to do something that shows his partner, hey, you were right before something terrible happens to him. Or he's bitter, trying to steer his partner off of something because he's on a take for some kind of reason or something else. It was like, that's it. It was like, it's going to be one of those two things. And that's just the nature of the beast at this point. So after Reacher gets the Fed show up, they question Reacher. He's still at Reacher
Mhm.
level 1 with them. No
Mhm.
respect. I'm not giving you no answers. It was like
Mhm.
they want to know, did she give you anything? It was like, give me
Mhm.
what? Except a hard time because now I got to hear deal with you idiots. No, she didn't give me anything. He leaves the precinct. Two other guys approach him, say, hey, where's the drive he gives you? So, of course, he goes Reacher level 2, beats the brakes off of these two guys in the
Oh
middle of the
God.
street. And a typical Philly, nobody sees nothing.
Right.
Nobody sees nothing. Nobody,
In
like,
front
nothing
of the
happens.
police station at that. Like, let's be
Right.
so
It was like,
serious.
those cops are
Right.
like, I'm on break. It was like, I don't know what that is over there. I'm on break.
Okay. But let me ask you this. You know what? Go ahead and finish, and then I'll stop you again to ask you a
So,
question,
like,
or to ask
while
you a
he's
question.
being talked to in the police station, just to move back a
Mm,
little bit, the
mhm,
woman who took her life, her brother shows up. And he looks
mhm,
like he's a New Jersey cop. And then he's
mhm,
like, what do you mean, my sister, and all of that. So he's obviously frazzled and having to deal with this news now about his sister. And
mhm,
he does make a question. He's like, he's concerned with her nephew. I mean,
mhm.
with his nephew,
His
rather,
nephew.
her son.
Hmm.
Yeah. So he goes across the street to the diner to get something to eat. So after Reacher finishes beating the brakes off of these two guys that approached him in the street, he goes over to talk to the brother and says, essentially the brother asks him, well, what's your interest in all of this if you had nothing to do with it? And then Reacher just said, she was somebody that needed help and I didn't help her.
Right.
So that's his whole MO for being involved in somebody else's business.
All the time, every season,
It was like
except
every
for
time.
season one.
It was like
He's
every
just
time. Because season
his
one, he was looking for something like
his
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 brother would
brother.
do, and it made sense to why he was doing this. Now every
Right.
time I tried to help
He's
somebody and I
he's
couldn't
just
help.
rolling into a
Now
city like
I'm a
a
one
piece
man
of
18,
tumbleweed.
and that's all it is. I'm a 1 man 18 with. I'll get somebody will buy me a new shirt, so I'll buy somebody will buy me a medium, and I'll buy me a new medium that I wear, and then that's it.
Well, no, if they have a whole, they literally, I feel like, have just decided that they're going to do a certain set of facts for each season. Like I said, with the exception of
Yeah, because like
season one,
that's
that
kind
he
of what
just
they.
rolls into a random city. He ends up somehow fighting some form of crime that he had nothing to do with when he
Yeah,
initially showed up in said city. He sleeps with some random broad in supposed
yeah.
distress. He,
That's
like
like
you said, gets someone to purchase him clothing. Like, it's just
that's like in the books. It's the same way in the book. It was like he shows up in the town. It's like except for the thing with his brother, when he shows up in town, he's like, "I'm in this town for a specific reason." And
I
even with
get
his
it.
brother, he was heading to go listen to some music or talk to some jazz great or something. So it's always like he's not looking for trouble. It's just trouble has to find this large frame man that just happens to be somewhere else. And it's
I
like
think
after a
that's
while, it's like Reacher, I'm gonna need you to get an apartment, put down some roots, and maybe just chill out for a year or two because we
right.
wouldn't have this problem.
All right.
Now, like after buying a jump drive off of some poor art student, which that art student sold that jump drive way too cheap. It was like he goes back to the
That's
guys
what
that
I
he beat
said.
up outside and then says, hey, you know what? I forgot the drive was in my pocket, but I want to talk to your boss because I'm going to want some money for this.
Hmm.
So then he meets this woman. And of course, it was like, well, Lila, it was like, as I see what you're working with, we all know how this is going to go down in the
Right, exactly.
so
Did
it's
you
like,
believe? Did you believe her supposed story?
no, I didn't believe none of that.
No.
It
Okay.
was like so. It was like it was all. It was too neat,
Neat. Hmm.
and it was just like so. I was like, she wants this for something else. Like I could swallow that she maybe was part of the press or something like that, but there was
Hmm.
something else behind it. So she gives Reacher a sob story, and he was like, "Oh, I'm gonna help you, Cleve. I mean, Lila. It was like I'm gonna help you out. It was like with this whole thing." I've been on the road for a minute. What hotel you staying at? Oh, is your mom always going to
Right.
be there? I was like, oh, okay. So he agrees to help her. Then some guys, possibly looking like the CIA, eventually roll up. And then, having heard about Reacher, they at least had a trank gun to try and
Right.
knock him out. So they had to shoot him like 6 times before he goes down. And then the first thing I'm telling my boss is like, I don't get paid enough to deal with something like this.
Right.
It was like, I'm
Right.
not. It's like we came. You told me we was picking up some dude, not the Hulk. I'm not dealing with
Not
this.
the right.
So Reacher is taken like tranked out. He's taken to a
Mm-hmm.
black site. When he
Mm-hmm.
comes to, he sees the cop Tamara and the victim's brother. What's his name? Jacob. Is like
Mm-hmm.
also locked in separate cells because the CIA scooped them up too. They're
Mm-hmm.
also looking for this drive, and you have no idea what's on it. So
No.
There's like they take Reacher off for questioning. He starts at level 1, goes to Reacher level 3, beats the crap out of 3 trained guys. Of like I'm gonna have to call suspect on CIA training because
Right.
he's a big dude, but at the same time he walked through y'all like nothing, and he was cuffed at the time.
Right.
So that's not great. They escape
And
and
got picked
end up
up
getting picked
by
up by a disgraced journalist who just happened to be watching that black site the whole time.
right,
So like, okay, this is
which
fine.
was located in
In
Washington, by the
Washington, yeah.
way.
So they were tranked in Philly and
Mm-hmm.
taken to Washington.
Moved to Washington. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So then after all of this, what happened? What was it? It was like Reacher decides to get out the car and then go meet up with a congressman after getting some information from the reporter. And then we
Mm-hmm.
get Mark Blucas, who was like, I saw him and I was like, holy crap, the Sliders guy's still acting. Good for you, buddy. I haven't seen you in years. He got a job. It was like, that was nice to see an actor still working. So he a congressman now.
Mm.
Good for you. You moving up, buddy. You moving up. So he's a congressman, and it turns out that he went when he was in the military. He went to train some group on military tactics. They were a
Right.
guerrilla type thing, and it was like, "Hey, we're going to train you," and they were like, "Thanks for helping us." And then after they left, the guys that took the training says like, "You know what we can do with these new skills? We're going to terrorize the populace and insert myself as dictator." So
Right.
that's essentially what they did, and it
Mm-hmm.
looks like that they evidence of that is what was on the drive. So they
Mm-hmm.
went to go question Congressman Lucas's aide, and it's like so
Mm-hmm.
they go to the roof, and it's never a good sign when you're side by side ace. Your aide is sitting there looking like he's 2 or 3 drinks in on the roof,
Early
with
in the
no jacket,
morning.
and it's like 10 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
So then all he says is like, "Sorry, Congressman," and then he takes the walk off the roof, and it
Right.
was like, and my thing with that was, okay,
Ha,
you got
ha. There
Reacher
was
there,
no
who's in
car.
the
Hold
middle.
on. Hold on. Hold on.
Not even.
There was no.
I'm not even going right there. It was like there was. He decides to take a walk. He's walking, not sprinting.
Right.
Reacher is there. The congressman is there. His wife are
Mm-hmm.
there. They
Mm-hmm.
watched this dude walk to the edge. It was like
Yes.
neither one of y'all sprinted to see. It's like, yo, hey, whoa, where you going, buddy? It was like, and then when he said, "I'm sorry," you ain't
Right.
tackle this cat. You just like watch him walk off. Like,
Right.
no, wait, stop. Hey, don't, John. And then he just walk off the side. So I kind of laughed at that because that is something that I think that
They could have
a
prevented.
writer or an actor I would have addressed, and either he sees me come up as we're coming out and he says I'm sorry and then walks,
Mm-hmm.
we're far away, not we have a quick little conversation and he walks.
Right.
So I kind of had that was a thing for me, at least. I'm like, oh, all right then. So
I had a similar issue with that scene because, like you said, they were close enough where they could have, first of all, you should have seen what was coming. Secondly, where they could have prevented it from happening. But my main issue was when he fell smack center in the middle of a car that didn't have another car on either side of it. And I'm always like, okay, when they show these scenes, the person either obviously is on the ground. What's the problem?
I was going to say a car in a parking lot with no other cars beside it. Who does that
Right.
sound like to you that parks their car like that? I wonder who that is. It was like, I wonder if you can think of any person that parks their car that way.
I know not of what you speak.
It
I
was
know
like,
not of what you
you
speak.
know, ladies and gentlemen, it's her. She will park 90 miles away from the Target venue to have no cars in front or beside her car.
And yet somehow cars end up parking right alongside me anyway.
Uh-huh.
So
Yeah.
whatever.
So,
But my
like,
point
again,
being,
that is a realistic thing because as
that
we
wasn't
improve
my
here,
That wasn't my issue. That wasn't my issue. It's how he, with nothing else in the parking lot, ended up, without looking, ended up right in the middle of that vehicle. Like, he didn't accidentally hit the side. He didn't accidentally
Dude, this
let's
is
be.
not James Cameron in Titanic where you got a guy
I'm just saying
and spin
the
it.
statistics of it.
Like, all right.
Okay.
But like my thing is have the other scene come out where the guy comes up, it's like, I had 4 more payments left on this thing. It was like that was totaled out because I got a corpse on the side. My insurance not gonna pay for this. Who's paying for this? Congressman, are you paying for this? Are you paying for my car? So
Anyway,
we
go
moved from
ahead.
there to
Talk about my
like
driving.
figuring out it was like Reacher's attacked again, and like he gets back to Philly. It was like, and he gets back to Philly. He meets up with Jacob and Detective Tamara, and they sit and talk. And as he goes to catch the subway at the Tasker Morris station, that is obviously not Tasker Morris, then he's attacked by 2 guys on the subway and kills the one where it was just like he was going to kill him anyway, just throw him off the platform, and then gets the other one shot. And then he calls his girl Lila that after he knocked with, he was like, "Oh, kill squad's coming for you. You should be careful. Get out of the hotel."
First of all, pause. The scene where they ended up having their business, that was the only scene. Was it? It was obvious to you that's what was going to go down that scene, right?
Of course.
Because it was.
It was like, of course. It was like Reacher. He's still a dude. He was like, there's like,
come
like,
on.
Yeah. Like he would sit there. It's like, yeah, I'll meet you. We'll do this. And it was like, oh, can you buy me a shirt? And it was like, thanks. It's like, I need an extra medium. And then he was sitting there like, because he takes off the other shirt. He's like, yeah, see these guns, these men's wrapped around you. Oh, all right. And I saw what you was working with. I saw you checking me out earlier.
Okay.
To that. It was like, come on. It was like, of course that was obvious that was happening.
But
I'm glad because of what happens later in episode 4. You got that out the way. But
I'm wanting one season. I want one season where it's not the girl that you think it's going to be, and it's not an obvious scene. I want them to surprise
you're not getting
me.
that. You're not getting that because every female co-lead that they've had as this show has run, I've sat there and pegged each one out.
Of course.
I was like, yep.
And that was the only scene that she was half naked in. Also, that's fine.
Yes, which is a disappointment for me, but I digress. It was like actors make choices. You got to go where the story takes you, and it's fine. So
anyway,
so you move forward.
I mean, why couldn't it have been the police officer? That was all I'm saying.
Because she's gonna get with Jacob because they've already laid that groundwork. So that groundwork was already laid that she's gonna end up probably dating Jacob or whatever it is. So that's what that is.
But
so,
she met. But she. All right.
So, what? It was like, oh, I met Reacher first, so I got to sleep with him first. I'm
not saying that. I'm just saying there's a listen. I'm just surprise me is all I'm asking. Just surprise me. I don't think I asked for much.
Because like if I look Tamara, you're a lovely lady, but at the same time, yeah. And Tamara, she knew. She was sitting there like, oh, you gonna go and press her for some information or whatever she said Tamara knew. It's like she knew what we were all thinking. So it was like, yeah, so let's go. So then Lila goes, she gets the message, dips out of the hotel, calls her mom, and then she's back in the elevator. She's in the elevator of the new location that they're in to go meet up with their bodyguard. She's like, "Oh, I'm tired of this American food. I'm gonna fix you something nice." And then Lila's like, "Oh, maybe this will be a good night." They get back to their room. Their bodyguards, the guys that Reacher beat down in the street a couple episodes ago, are dead. So the nephew was killed. You find out later the nephew was killed. And then he was killed by the same type of knife that killed the OnlyFans model. Which, speaking of, there was an OnlyFans model in this. You didn't really hear, but there was an OnlyFans model in this episode as well. There was a whole connection that they used, like the OnlyFans model they used to get the nephew. And then you find out they grabbed the nephew to spook the mom, and then figure that the mom
get the information.
They figured the mom was trying to go to the kidnappers to get her son, and that's why she initially had the gun on her, and then everything just went left, and then she took her life because she figured that he was dead or something like that. But the ending of episode 4 was you find out Lila and her mom were the one with the special weapons that possibly killed the nephew and the OnlyFans model. And that opens up, it's like, oh, so Colonel Beelzebub that was trained by Congressman, these are the two chicks that's working for him. And it was like, so this is fun. So now all I really want is
to
like,
tie it all up together.
Well, technically, I want the fight between Lila and Reacher. Because in theory, that should not really be too much of a fight, but at the same time, it was like I see also her slicing him up pretty good.
Oh,
so I'm wondering how all of that's going to work out.
You know how it's going to work out. His bestie's going to
work out because there's another season of this, so he'll be all right. It's like he might be missing a finger, but he'll be back. But
his bestie are rolling. She'll help him.
Yeah, like Neely will show up, and it was like, all right, Reacher, I saved you. Check me out in my show. Neely to drop when this is over. You guys come check it out. It was like, and I'll be there for that. But it was like all in all of this season, like again, it was like I enjoyed the books that I've read, but it was like these seasons of Reacher have been good. Like I've enjoyed them all up through this one as well. So they haven't lost me. It was like I'm getting, my giant dude kicking people in the face and make a couple of bad quips and it keeps it moving. It was like, I'm fine. It was like, I'm not giving me what I expect.
I think this season is a rinse and repeat, like we've already discussed of the prior seasons. I think it's cute if you want something to watch with your significant other and just like, cuddle up on the sofa and watch something that's entertainment. So I think it's fine. I think it's fine. I think
somebody, murk some guys. It was like, come on, honey, let's get cozy with this romantic jaunt that we're watching. I was like, all right.
think the only issue that I have with this, can we let it go, y'all, with the Philly Santa Claus snowball throwing?
Yeah, that was the thing that I was sitting there. It was like Reacher, you were like 8 if you were born at that time. It was like, what are we talking about? This is not like this happened 2 years ago. This happened like 1980 something, early 80s. It was like, let it go. When they throw snowballs at Santa Claus, it was like, yeah. And they get shanked outside of LA Coliseum for wearing a Raiders, for wearing a freaking, what was it? San Francisco 49ers jersey at a Raiders. It was like, we're not talking about that though. And that happened relatively recently.
You had a man stealing something from a kid in one of the stadiums this last season. I think it was a baseball
in Boston or whatever the hell it was. Like, come on, guys. It was like, that's your whole thing. I'm going to need you to move. As funny as it was, I'm going to need y'all to move past it. Like, that was hilarious. You're like, you don't clean off the bleacher seats. And then you want to have a fan base who was annoyed at the team on the field. And it was like, oh, and this Santa Claus, it was like, that was like Mets bat day. What did you think was going to happen when you give people weapons, when you arm your fans with something? What do you think is going to happen? So, yeah, that was like, okay, y'all ain't got nothing else. So that's just what it was.
I mean, they brought that up. They brought up the attempt at saying Wawa, what she called Way Way. They brought up the cheesesteak, and now they brought up hoagie. And all they were missing is like the Acme for to put it all in.
Acme and Mac Machine. Those are only 2 things.
Yeah.
That they're missing. Yeah. So it's like, and you can throw John in there.
John, yeah.
So I was like, you got about 4 episodes left. We'll see if we get there.
Throw them in there. Yeah.
Like, all told though, it's like I got no problems with this season.
Yeah,
like, I got no problem. Right. It's more reach.
I don't either.
Like, for you and your spouse, it is a love time of like, oh, let's watch this romantic thing. So that's a dark.
He doesn't even watch it with me. He'll watch other like murder mystery things with me, but this he doesn't. He doesn't enjoy.
Like, let's get some candy and put some candles and watch this true crime murder of what's also going on. It's like, yeah, this is a dark window to whatever's going on over there. So,
hey, my God. Like, anyway,
it's just like, oh, well, like mental note for this.
Guys,
dinner? No, I'm good. I'm good.
Anyway, we appreciate y'all watching the episode. If you loved it that much, please feel free to like, share, subscribe, comment. And again, we appreciate you and cheers.
Bye, everybody.